Okay, let's get going. It's 1 minute past 11. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's Tide Masterclass, how to create an innovative business idea. This is now number 20 in our Masterclass series and the first in our September series of how to start a small business. For September, we're changing things slightly. We're going to be doing 2 masterclasses a week, each around 30 minutes long, and they'll give you a how-to guide of how to start a small new business. We won't be doing Q&As in this session at the end, just to sort of cut down on the time. But if you do have any questions, please do send them in to me on the email that I'll share in the chat room later on, and I'll make sure we get back to you as soon as possible. My name is Cohen Hawker, for the people who maybe are new to these webinars. I'm the event manager here at Tide. And for those of you who maybe don't know about Tide, I just want to give you a quick overview of our services. We are the fastest growing online business current account provider in the UK. Currently have over 200,000 members. And our aim is to provide our members with a service that saves them both time and money when it comes to their business banking. We're brilliant for SMEs, freelancers, as there are no credit checks or startup or monthly fees. This also allows you to try us out alongside your current business bank account and to see how we can save you time and money. The sign-up process, really quick, takes between 5 and 10 minutes. And at the end of that time, you'll receive your sort code and account number, so you can start your banking straight away, with your Tide card arriving a few working days later. The app itself, really simple to use with a huge amount of in-app products, which will make your banking life a lot easier. One of my favorites is the ability to see exactly where your money has gone and when it went there through our auto categorization tool, easy for me to say. And you can also have up to 30 cards on the one account as well. So anyone in the business can make company expenses that are really easy to track and to manage. I'm going to talk to you a little bit later about how to stay up to date with what we're doing at Tide and also how easy it is to become a Tide member. But for now, let's get on with the webinar. If you go on to the next slide, please. So we've got a fantastic panel this morning, and I'm really appreciative of their time and the effort they put in to help with the webinar. I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves because I'm sure they know themselves better than I do. So maybe Andy, if we could start with you. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Yes, I'm Andy Mindel, and I've been making things really just for ever, like since probably 99. And I just love to make and create new things, both offline and online. So I started WordTracker actually in 1999. WordTracker is a keyword research tool that helps you to search online and gives you keywords that people are actually typing into the search boxes. So it gives you insights and demographics into what people are actually doing online. I then funded and helped to start a tool called Onboard HQ, which is onboarding for Stripe and attaches emails to the Stripe to help people to basically keep people in their applications through onboarding. And then not too long ago, 5-6 years maybe, moved to near the ocean, and where I took up a bunch of water sports, one of those being paddleboarding. And I was really struggling to get my paddleboard to the beach and saw a number of other people who were also struggling. And so I started something called Shoreride, which is a way of getting your paddleboard from home to the water. And I'm working on that at the moment and trying to build up that business, and just, whenever I see a problem, just try and kind of solve it through something useful, which is hopefully what Shoreride is. And that's me.
Great, thanks, Andy. And Debbie, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for asking me here, Cohen. So my name's Debbie, and I run a business called Debbie Doodah. I started running my own businesses in 2000 and where are we now? 2013. Just had to do the maths there really quickly. And I initially started a digital marketing agency. So I worked with what I like to call good businesses, charities, social enterprises, the council, helping them reach out and build new audiences using the marvelous new tool of social media, which now we're all using and isn't so new anymore. And through doing that, people kept asking me if I could teach them how to do things. Debbie, could you just show me how to do this? So I've moved into coaching, and I now spend most of my time working one-to-one with small entrepreneurs, helping them build their businesses using the power of social media. I lecture at a couple of universities on digital marketing, so that's fun. I'm wondering how we're going to get back into doing that, probably more of this kind kind of thing in the new landscape. I co-authored a toolkit called My Business, My Way that you can Google with Nottingham University, and we won some awards for that, and that's really helping people dig into what is success for them, what does success look like for them. And I run a networking group for female entrepreneurs, so sorry Walter if you're listening, called the Blue Stocking Society, helping women kind of build connections in the business world. So that's a little bit about me. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you, Debbie, and yeah, it's just great to have you both on the panel. So thank you again.
I run a a networking group for both men and women. So
get in there. What's it called, Andy?
Called Flock. It's based in Shoreride by Sea.
Perfect.
We'll have
Brilliant.
to come join.
Yeah, you should. This is good. This connection over the masterclass. I'm enjoying that. Perfect. So let's move on to the main part of the webinar. If you go on to the next slide. So Andy, I think with your extensive experience in setting up businesses, it'd be great to hear from you where you think people should start with the business idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. One of the places that I like to start really is to just get present to where you are, to where things are, and how you're feeling about stuff you're working on. Because life is really hectic, and it's so easy to go from one thing to the other, and it's easy just to forget about what you're doing and not focus on stuff. And so I like the idea of getting present and conscious to what you're doing and how things make you feel, and mindfulness has been a massive help in this regard. Because when things don't work, often I find myself just pushing through like crazy. Like I just want to push through. I work harder, I work faster. And sometimes it just feels like I'm wading through treacle because I just want to get to the end. And often by being present to that, you can find these different ways through. They're often a bit easier. And the most recent example actually is just during lockdown and the whole homeschooling thing. And I just found myself and my kids, we were just struggling a bit in the beginning. My kids didn't want me to be a teacher. They didn't want to be taught by me because I'm dad, right? So I was just pushing through and kind of struggling with that. And so I got present to this struggle. And instead of just fighting with my kids all the time, we worked out a way where they would be happy with what I'm teaching. And I would be happy with the way I'm teaching them as well. And it worked well. I got present to things that gave the sparkle to them and made them interested in what they were learning, and just got interested in different ways of teaching them as well. So I kind of enjoyed that, just that whole experience. But also with Shoreride, what happened was, as I was taking my board, as I took up paddleboarding, I lived 200 meters from the beach, and I found myself struggling to get my board to the water. And I was just kind of knackered by the time I arrived, and I couldn't actually paddle, or I just, paddle for about half an hour and that would be it. And I just thought there must be a better way. I noticed other people struggling as well. The wind was blowing their boards and they were just a bit knackered when they got there. And so I thought, okay, if I'm struggling, other people must be struggling as well. And so let's create something. And so I did, just on the back of that struggle. And so what I found was that often the best ideas, they come from your current situation. So they come from my current situation at the time. What was I interested in? What sports do I love? What resources do I have? Made a list about the different things, wrote them down. And I just kind of figured that my most successful ideas will come from my current situation, what I'm actually doing right now. And it will also give you a step up. It will give you a step up to help you move faster. And so for me, Shoreride came from the fact that I love paddleboarding, moving to the ocean, also having a friend that I knew manufacturing as well. So it wasn't so scary. So all those bits came together to help me design this thing. Now, once I had this idea, the next thing was for me to test this idea. So to test it, I straight away just went online, just did some research. I went to my tool, which was Word Tracker. And Word Tracker is quite a helpful tool because You can type into the search box paddleboarding. You can type in different keywords just to do with what you think people are searching for. And it's useful because it tells you what people are typing into the search box, what they're typing into Google and other search engines. So you can see that. You know, what's the point of me creating a tool if there's no market to match that tool? There needs to be a market match to what I'm creating, because otherwise I'll make this amazing thing and no one will really want it. They'll buy it because they're not interested in this kind of area, or there's not many people who are involved in it. And this is also where Google Trends comes in really useful as well. So you can see the trend of how things are flowing. So is paddleboarding, are people getting more or less interested in paddleboarding? Are people getting more interested in certain sea sports or different things? Are there new ideas that are coming out that people are interested in? Google Trends allows you to see what's happening online, what actual people are doing. And something recently that I've come across as well is this tool called, another Google one actually, called Think with Google. And it allows you to see what research people are doing online in the retail area. And it was interesting because during lockdown, I noticed that actually paddleboarding, or just after lockdown when we could do more exercise outside, paddleboarding actually became the #1 search for item. People wanted to get onto the water and paddleboard. Maybe they were putting it off. Maybe they weren't, you know, maybe they just thought they would get to it. But there was something about after lockdown that made people want to get to the ocean. And it was just interesting. It was interesting seeing that insight. And actually, it didn't take long for paddleboards to start selling out. Literally just could not find a paddleboard online, which I think was kind of a surprise to everyone, really.
I had a similar thing with wetsuits. We wanted to buy a wetsuit and it was really difficult to buy a wetsuit. So I think you're right. I think the lockdown at the end of that just wanted people to get out and experience nature and be less locked in their houses. So it's a great time to create a product around the great outdoors, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it just gave people time to think, didn't it?
Yes.
People time to think about what they wanted to do or what they've been putting off. And so when I created this as well, I used a tool called Business Model Canvas, which is quite a popular tool out there. Because I think huge business plans can really stifle you. The idea of creating a massive business plan is just, you'll take ages to get to it because it's just a lot of effort. But with something like Business Model Canvas, I found that it provided a structure to think about the idea, to think deeper about the idea. So checking the competition, checking my pricing, how I was actually going to price this thing. Just thinking around different things. Were people actually, did they want this? Were there similar items that are out there? And there's actually a really helpful resource as well online called Miro, something like that. Debbie, I don't know if you've used it.
No,
but
that's new to me.
Yeah, it's a fantastic collaborative whiteboarding tool. And within that whiteboarding tool, they actually have a lot of templates as well. One of those templates is Business Model Canvas, which is fantastic. So you can get busy, you can invite your friends, invite different people of the community to get involved and actually help you fill in Business Model Canvas, which is perfect when you're remote.
That is fantastic. So you can
kind
of work on your business idea with a team and almost use that canvas like post-it notes and stick it on and work on it collaboratively.
Yeah, exactly. And they have post-it notes as well. So they have virtual post-it.
Even better.
I know, right? It's just fantastic.
Virtual post-it notes as good as real post-it notes, though. That's the thing.
That's the thing. It will do right now. It will do right now. But it helps. And it helps. It helps to have other people offer their feedback within the ideas, because otherwise you're just sitting there in an empty space with your own thoughts, and it just helps to have that collaboration. It just sparks off new ideas. Really, really helpful. And so it actually helped to have people who are in the paddleboarding area involved in that process as well, and that people I didn't know before. So I just approached people in the community, and they were glad to help. They wanted to be involved in creating a new product. And so after this, something I've used heavily in development actually is the whole idea of lean startup. It's an Eric Ries. Eric Ries wrote the book on lean startup, and I've used it in development before, and it's been fantastic. And essentially what it is it's the scientific principle applied to testing an idea. So coming up with an assumption that you have, assumption about whether or not people will want this thing to get to the water, will they use wheels? And then you try to break it in any possible way. come up with the assumption, and then try to damage it. And what I thought was, surely this idea, lean startup that I've been using for development, could be applied to manufacturing as well. Why not? I mean, I use agile in development, and sometimes you can't move as quickly in manufacturing, but it can still be applied. And so I did. So I took Shoreride, and first of all, the assumption was, are people interested in this idea? So I approached the community. I went to where they were hanging out. I spoke to some members within the community, and I asked them whether they were struggling to get their board to the water. I asked the questions. I had 3 or 4, and all of them happy to chat, friendly bunch, really wanted to talk to me about the idea. Fantastic. So it turns out some of the community were interested in this idea. Others hadn't really thought about it and weren't interested, but that's fine. There was enough people who were. And so from that point, I then created the sketchiest of prototypes, literally Band-Aids, just duct tape, just pieces of wood, wheels that I found. It cost me next to nothing. And I just kind of strapped it to my board, and I just took it down there, big smile on my face, and I just spoke to the community again. I was like, well, how about this? And first of all, they looked at me and they were like, well, you know, I'm not putting chunks of wood on my board and putting duct tape, but, you know, I get the idea. And a couple of them wanted to try it, and they moved it around a little bit, gave me ideas on how it could be improved, different things that could be tried. And from that, I just got more of an idea, a tiny idea. And, you know, I hadn't spent much money to this point, which was great. Literally no money, just a bit of duct tape and just, you know, working some things out just working some things out, making it home. And then from that point, I improved it a little bit. I got some better designed kind of items, and I made 10 of them. And from those 10, I went to a local festival called Paddle Around the Pier, which is based in around Brighton way. And at that point, I got a stand, and I employed my 5-year-old boy. And 5-year-olds are, if you have a 5-year-old, it's quite incredible because they are marketing machines. They are incredible. So I gave my little boy a bunch of leaflets, and he just went out there and he just spoke to people. He started handing out leaflets. I think one person maybe received about 5 leaflets. He didn't want to come to my stand at all, but my boy's smile forced him to come to the stand, and then we had a chat. And it's great because it also brings us together as a family, and it gets me to teach my little boy about, you know, marketing and selling and money and that side of things, which again makes it interesting to design this product. I don't want to design this product on my own. I want to design it with community. I want to design it with my family. And so testing with this is key. Never, ever, ever stop testing. You know, don't be the person that is sitting in their room, falling in love with your idea, just sitting there by yourself, and then buys a load of stock, spends 10, 15,000 pounds on stock, just leaves it there, and then goes to market and hopes for the best. Don't be that person, because what will happen is your stock will sit there gathering dust. I mean, you might be lucky, but why not test the market first and keep testing it? Because at the end, you'll have an amazing product at the end of it. And also, be prepared to throw away. I was prepared from the start to throw away the idea, throw away Shoreride. It's easier to throw away an idea when small amount of money has been spent. It's easier to throw away an idea when you've only got a prototype that's been made out of duct tape.
Yeah.
But be prepared to throw it away and start again. It's easier at the start. It's not as easy once you've spent the money, the investment, a lot of time. It's not as easy. And so once you've actually got to that point and you've got a lot of feedback, because you need as much information as possible before you've spent the money to make the decisions. Do people like this idea? Is it a starter? I mean, you'll know at this point. But if not, then you've got to think about the pivot side of things. And pivoting is when you take your idea and either change it, put it aside, turn it into something else completely, or you just change it slightly into something just a bit different.
Yeah.
But you need to pivot on this idea if it's not working. And again, it's hard to pivot if you've spent loads of money on it, but be prepared. Now, I was lucky. that people liked Shoreride, and so I could just evolve the actual design that I had. But with Word Tracker and Onboard, it went through about maybe 3 or 4 different iterations before I actually got something, before we got something that the market wanted. And we tested, we iterated, we tested, we iterated, we pivoted, we changed, and then we got something that people actually wanted. Because it shouldn't cost a lot to test an idea. It really shouldn't. And you need to test before spending thousands on it. Yeah. Can you leverage other people's money? For example, distributors, and getting distributors and manufacturers together can help you bridge the cost and gaps, because it costs a lot to actually manufacture a product. And having
I'm so sorry to jump in. I'm just a bit conscious of time. That's all. I know we're getting on to sort of 22 past 10, and I don't want to jump in too rudely, but I really want to get on to Debbie as well.
Oh, sorry. It's okay. Shall I tell you what? I've got 1 minute. Yeah. Shall I go super fast? 1 minute. Okay. Or shall I finish there?
I think we'll call it then, if that's okay. I'm so sorry, but and then we'll maybe come back to that if we have time after Debbie. Okay. And again, if there's anybody that wants to get in touch with you directly after the session, they can through me, and that won't be a problem.
Okay. Sorry, Debbie. Sorry for eating your time. You just get carried away when you're talking. You just want to talk. And
I know. I'm really pleased that you would just want to keep talking, but with this sort of half an hour session, we just want to move on.
Thank you for cutting in. No worries.
So Debbie. When starting a business, as you have, what do you think are the most important aspects to consider in terms of the initial idea?
Thanks, Gunn. And thanks, Andy. I think we've established that we can all talk about this till the cows come home. We're really passionate about the stuff that we do. I've got the 4 points there that I sort of thought about when I was thinking, like, you're going to start a business, what do you need? But I just wanted to add to some of Andy's points there. This idea of keeping it simple is so important, that you don't spend tons of money, and you can get an idea out there really quickly, get people talking about it. Like, perfection isn't the answer. And I think a lot of the people that I work with or speak to, they want everything to be perfect before they go live, because they don't want to be judged by people and they don't want it to look a bit shonky. But actually, the going through the iterations is the most important thing. Like, having good product is more important than looking shiny. Like, make sure the product is good. And this idea of pivoting, I think it's really important to be a good listener. Because what Andy spoke about is like listening to what people are saying and taking that on board. And, my first business was a totally different business. I had a different website. It was called Herd Media. We had cows on it. It played on words. It looked fantastic. But I completely pivoted based on what people said that they wanted from me. And I kind of made more money when I listened and I didn't just plow on. So being able to kind of change what you do is key. For me, when you're thinking about starting a business, I would really start off from this point of what do you love doing? Like, Andy's into all this tech stuff and analytics, so I expect he's got this mind that really kind of delves into that, and he enjoys that, and he obviously loves getting on his paddleboard. For me, teaching digital marketing and getting into that, it's not that I love the tech, it's that I love community and I love talking and I love meeting people, and I'm really nosy and I want to get inside what people are doing. And for me, social media is a tool to do that. I don't get all whizzy when new things come out. I kind of get a bit blasé with it all, but thinking about what you love doing is key. And I always think about Richard Branson. He's maybe not the best person at the moment because of the whole killing off the NHS stuff, but he is a really good entrepreneur. And when he started his business, he did it based on loving music, going out with his friends, having a party. And I always think about when he created Virgin Coke, which just was a washout. He probably didn't love Coke. Like, he loves holidays, Virgin Atlantic makes sense. He loved parties and music, makes sense. So find the thing that you love doing, because running a business is hard work and you put a lot of time and effort into it. So it might as well be something you love. Be really clear about what the problem that you're solving is. Like, how are you helping people? How can you make their lives better? What is the problem that they have, and how can you come up with a solution to that problem? Like, being really clear on what that is, and get talking to people. Use the tools like Think with Google, Answer the Public I really love, because you can put a keyword in there and it'll tell you all the questions that people are asking. Google, go and talk to people, meet people, ask them, this is my idea, what are you struggling with? Does it fix it? Know who has the problem. Sometimes when people start businesses, they find it really difficult to know who their customers are because they want everybody to spend money with them. But it's really difficult to market to everybody. Like, find the people who are already kind of interested in what you do. Like, it's really difficult to sell eco products, for example, to somebody who doesn't care about the environment. Yeah, you want to change the world and make it a better place, but go after the people who are already motivated, already interested in what you've got. And think about the question, why now? Like, why are you creating this product now? Or why are you doing this now? So Andy answered this really clearly with, he came out of lockdown and everybody's Googling paddle boards. Well, great, the market's growing. This is the why now. Like, let's create this product now. So know why you're doing the thing that you're doing now. And for me, they're the kind of 4 main things that I'd answer. Alongside what we were talking about, Miro and the business model canvas, I really agree with Andy that unless you're going for a business loan, you don't need a massive business plan. You really don't. It can take up all this time. So using something like the business model canvas is really good because you can just play around with ideas. But I want to give a shout out to a fantastic female entrepreneur called Cara Holland. And she wrote a book that I love called Draw a Better Business. So if you're creative and you think in a creative way and you like to draw out your ideas, she's come up with loads of really useful tools for you to be able to draw out your business ideas and kind of map them out in a kind of really visual way, which I find a lot more exciting than just writing in Word document or Google, like da 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 da. It gets quite boring. So if you can kind of map out stuff really quickly and use those tools, you'll be able to quickly see, are you onto a winner? Can it make money? Who's the customer? What's my plan going forward? And that's kind of my advice for building an innovative business.
And just going back to this, the why now section on that, Debbie.
Yeah.
I mean, what would your thoughts be a bit more about that?
Well, I think, like, you can get, like Andy said, you can get stuck on ideas that you feel are good, that you love, that are great. But if it's not in the national consciousness, if it's not part of the zeitgeist, if it's not what people are already looking for on Google, you're going to have an uphill struggle. The world's changing really fast at the moment, especially in the business world. And I believe, Corona and all this stuff, I kind of think it's catapulted us into a place that we maybe would have got to in 10, 20 years anyway. But the movement of change has been ever so fast. So thinking about what you can do for the future, like how will your business be useful in the future? How will your products be there for the future? You want to create something that's got longevity, that is going to take people where they want to go. And you might have had an idea for something that would have been great 6 months ago, but isn't going to work now in this new landscape. So it's really digging into what's the political stuff. I've got a client, she loves the SWOT, what's your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. There's some really good old-fashioned business tools that you can use to really dig into this why now question. What's happening in the political landscape? What are people doing? How do we live? And how do you create something for this moment and that can take people forward? So I think that's, for me, the key. What's happening around us and why is the thing that I'm creating relevant?
Fantastic. That was
pleasure.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So we're going to talk to the panel for very quickly in a couple of minutes just about resources that they use. But just before we get on to that, if we just move on to the next slide, I just want to give you a quick bit more information about Tide and what you can expect from us over the next couple of days and our business as it is at the moment. I've just put all the links to all of our social channels, our YouTube channel, and our email address in the chat room. So if you want to go and like and subscribe and follow us to stay up to date with what we're doing and all of our future masterclasses as well, you can find all the information in the chat room right there. Over the next day or two, you will all receive an email from us as well. If you are not a Tide member, there will be a link to click in that email, which will take you through how to download the app and sign up to become a member of Tide, to allow yourself to save time and money with your banking. And if you are a member, you'll also receive that email, and you will also have a link to rewatch this webinar, so you can share that with your friends and family and business colleagues as well. And this will all be on our YouTube channel. And if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, please hit the subscribe button down the bottom and have a look around and look at all the other masterclasses that we have there. So now going on to the resources section. The panel, I think we have enough time. We're just after 11:30. So if you guys maybe want to talk through these resources, and I will then be putting the live links to these in the chat room as well. So yeah, go ahead, please, Debbie. I think yours are the first ones, weren't they?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, we've got to do a bit of marketing, haven't we? So I've put my own website up there first and foremost, which is debbieduda.co.uk. And if you sign up to my freebies, you'll get a free 5-day Facebook mini course. You'll get access to the award-winning toolkit I created with Nottingham University that I mentioned at the beginning, and loads of other useful things. Plus, there's millions of blog posts on there about all sorts of things about building businesses. Trello I've put up there because I think one of the key things with entrepreneurs is to get organized. Like, organize your thoughts. If you've got all these thoughts in your head, you're carrying them around, you can't really be creative and think of more thoughts. So you find something like Asana or Trello or Google Keep where you can start brain dumping your ideas and start mapping out things and using that. So I find Trello super useful for that.
It's helpful.
Say it again.
It's free as well, which is
It's
helpful.
free. All these tools are free, which is even better. We love a free tool. It's called Answer the Public rather than the Republic. But, you know, maybe we're going to change the world and join the Republic or something. Maybe Answer the Republic is better. But Answer the Public is a free tool. You can put in a keyword and it will give you all the things that people are typing into Google around that keyword. You can do some research. And then Unsplash is a really good free tool with loads of images, kind of Creative Commons image that you can use on your social media, in your email marketing, on your website. So it's really good to have a good suite of images that you can use to kind of build your brand and start testing out those ideas.
Perfect. Now, Andy, the final 4 are yours, I think.
Yeah, just on my side, I mean, just my website as well, at andymindel.com. And really, that's just a way of people contacting me if you're interested to know more about some of the things I'm up to, or just want help really with anything you're doing. I'm open to. I just love to share, love to help and guide people. So just get in touch and let's talk. And Shoreride as well, which is just the site that I've been talking about. If you enjoy paddleboarding, then Shoreride's very helpful. It will get you to the water without being knackered. Think with Google, I mentioned before, it's just filled with research, really helpful research to do with retail ideas, things that you might be thinking of creating. Just helpful to have that kind of, you know, it's just got your back really with the research side. And Miro, as I explained before, I need to work out whether it's Miro or Miro. I'm not quite sure, but it's just helpful to have collaboration with things that you're working on. Really important, especially whilst we're remote right now. And that's it.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And you may have just seen, I've just put a poll in at the end of this webinar just for us at Tide to get some feedback on future masterclass topics and you may like to see from us. So if you have a second, please do take time to answer that poll. But listen, thank you so much to everybody that's attended today's webinar, and thank you to Andy and Debbie especially for taking time out on the Tuesday after the bank holiday. And listen, it was a really fantastic webinar, some great content. And like I said, please look out for the emails that were coming through from us in terms of how to sign up to Tide, and please do look out for future Tide events. So thank you to the panel and thank you to attendees, and we look forward to seeing you all again soon at a future masterclass. Have a good Tuesday. See you later.
Thank you for having us. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.